Om Shri Chinmayanandaji Namaha. Hari Om. Whose is the wealth? Kasya, swid, dhanam. All wealth belongs to him alone. The infinite alone is the reality. It is the core in all forms. It pervades everything within, and it envelops everything. The world is like an iceberg floating on water. Water, frozen and floating on water. It is nothing but water. Since everything is his, whatever that is permitted by him. You know, in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, 10th chapter, 41st sloka, Bhagavan says, Yad yad vibhuti matsattvam Shrimad urjitameva va tattadeva vagachatvam mama tejom sasambhavam. Whatever you see, the greatness, beauty or glory, O Arjuna, know that to be a bit of my glory. So, everything, take it as his and live life in this attitude of dedication and gratitude, which is the way to true enjoyment. Tena tyaktena bhunjithaha. So tena, tritiya, third case, instrumental case, can also mean therefore. So the entire world of multiplicity is vasyam by the Lord. He is within and without. Therefore, through detachment from all plurality, come to experience the supreme harmony of the one truth that pervades all, that indwells in all, that clothes all. Thus, through renunciation of attachment, renunciation of ego, renunciation of desire, renunciation of misconceptions, and renunciation of sensuous values, enjoy what is given by him, considering all as his. Never covet, gridha. You know, interesting point to be noted that the word gridha in Sanskrit is vulture. So the seer has rightly used the term gridha, which suggests greed, which is vulture-like. Clear? So, never covet the wealth of others. Ma gridha. The covet is to desire to possess more and more, to hoard, to collect, and to aggrandize. Bhunji thaha, enjoy. The root bhuj means to enjoy and also to save. Shri Šankara Bhagavat Pada takes the later meaning and interprets it to mean saving oneself, saving one's self, saving one's own self, Atma. According to Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji, therefore the meaning would be that the way to protect one's self and enjoy its glory lies in the renunciation of attachments for the not self, anatma. The seer of the Upanishad, however, by avoiding the mention of the objects to be enjoyed, probably means both. At a lower level, enjoy what is given by him without covetousness, attachment, and so on. And at the greater heights, the student in meditation is told to renounce the perceptions, feelings, and thoughts which are other than anatma, or which is other than atma, which is other than atma means which is anatma, and seek the eternal, imperishable atma, having experienced which come to enjoy the glories of Kaivalya, the Godhood. In short, it all adds up to this: renouncing the fleeting world and its equally fleeting objects. In the Lord's is all this: experience, come to enjoy the self. Saving the self is to enjoy the self. By enjoying it, one saves it. By not enjoying it, one kills it. In mantra number 3, it has been narrated nicely. The Pauranika ideal, mythological ideal of charity, dhanam, also can be read into this phrase, tyaktena bhunjithaha. You know, giving is the true enjoyment of wealth. Giving is the true enjoyment of wealth. Make wealth as much as you can by right means, and hold on to it as a trustee. Give it away intelligently to patronize right causes, thus enjoy. covet not wealth, nor hoard it to let it lie idle. You know, Narada says in Srimad Bhagavatam, men are owners of only that much of property in their possession as is necessary to feed their stomachs. Anyone who thinks that he is the sole proprietor of anything more is a thief and deserves to be punished as such. So, for whose is the wealth? It belongs to the community, and it must go back to it. Yours shall be the enjoyment of making it and of distributing it back to the deserving individuals or institutions. Just to show how Sanskrit commentators have used their ingenuity to milk more and more meaning out of the mantra 1, must mention how tena tyaktena bhunjithaha has been interpreted as tena tyakte na bhunjithaha. Tena tyakte na bhunjithaha. By him, tena, if forsaken, tyakte sati, don't na enjoy bhunjithaha, means never enjoy that which is God forsaken. This is, however, not at all acceptable, as the splitting of tyaktena is not permissible or acceptable. But the suggestion is pregnant with its sweetness. In the very first mantra, there is therefore not only a statement of truth and its amplifications, but a definite method of realization is also pointed out. Even this much would have been sufficient to raise the mantra to the pinnacles of literary perfection and philosophical beauty unparalleled in any language. But this is not all. The crown, the entire effort, as it were, here within the same mantra. The Rishi has also hinted at how such a perfect one will live thereafter and how a seeker on his pilgrimage should try to live. As an injunction to the seekers and as a description of the mental attitude of the perfect one, we have the statement in the last quarter of the stanza. Do not covet the wealth of another. So covetousness arises from the muddy pools of desires. Desires procreate thoughts, and thoughts degenerate into actions. The seer in the Upanishad is advising not to covet the wealth of others, and thereby he is prescribing for the seeker training for the control of his desire. To control desires is to control actions. And to that extent, it is an attempt to, throttle the activities of ignorance or error in us. Bhagavan Shankaracharya goes a step further and interprets the last quarter of the stanza to mean as an exclamation from the rishis, whose is the wealth? Kasya swid dhanam. So, by this question, he implies that there is no wealth which belongs to anybody, and that there is nothing in the universe which can permanently remain with us. We ourselves are passing. The world of objects is also ephemeral. And in this eternal change, who is to covet and for what? Thus, he laughs at the very idea of desiring anything in the world, since there is nothing in the universe which deserves our desiring. The very first stanza of this inimitable Upanishad is in itself a miniature philosophical textbook, complete with its philosophical enunciations of truth, its explanations of the technique of realizing that truth, and its vivid exposition of the values of life that a perfect man of truth would thereafter entertain in his everyday life. Each of these topics themselves the theme of chapters of discussion in all orthodox textbooks has been clearly pointed out here with simple phrases, each constituting a pada of the or pada of the stanza. Thus, in the 4-line stanza, there are these 4 aspects of philosophy completely discussed through indicative and pregnant phrases. This stanza is intended for those of our generation who believe in the path of renunciation or in the path of knowledge. In the next stanza, we have a complete exposition of the theory of action which is the manifesto advocated by the opposite group of mental temperaments. This is an immortal and eternal controversy. So long as man is constituted of as he is, there will certainly be this great controversy raging with different intensities at different periods of history. As it were, like waves, they alternately come and keep the society under their hold. At one period of history, men are apt to advocate, encourage, and live the life of renunciation and pure knowledge. While following it comes the other wave of a revolt against this life of quiet growth and inward culture, and in its place, history craves out a wild outward civilization of material gains and physical comforts. These usher in an era of sweat, toil, and labor. The Ishopanishad Upanishad seems to be an attempt at reconciliation of these two, the path of knowledge and the path of action. There are some critics who fail to detect and experience the glamorous beauty of this perfect scripture. According to them, this is a compilation of some stanzas then available in the community, and the hasty editor, whoever he be, must have been in a terrible hurry to finish his job. This opinion clearly shows that they have failed to follow the theme or the mode of treatment in Indian philosophical textbooks, wherein the teacher wants the students to discover the unsaid therein. These mantras are not only the, briefest expositions on philosophy, but they are also, each one of them, an exercise in contemplation. There is a lot said in each mantra, and indeed, a lot more lies unsaid in between the stanzas. Not to realize this would be criticizing a book not read by the critic himself, a born blind man. The entire Upanishad is to be understood as given out by the seer in his inspired moments in 7 waves of thought. What is that 7 waves of thought? The first wave is mantra 1, second wave mantra 2, third wave mantra 3, fourth wave mantra 4 to 8, fifth wave mantra 9 to 14, sixth wave mantra 15 to 17, and seventh wave mantra 18. Clear? So, we have discussed earlier also. We have just now finished the first wave of thought, constituted of the very opening mantra. Therein the glory of the path of meditation, and how through renunciation of the not self, renunciation of the anatma, the seeker reaches to experience the Lord pervading whatsoever is in its universe, have been explained. Now, supposing this path of contemplation is too hard for a certain type of seekers, what are they to do? The path for them is the way of action, which is being explained in the following mantra number 2. We will discuss later. Hari Om Tat Sat.